Hey guys, this is my 1984 Jeep CJ7. I installed a Howell throttle body kit in it a couple days ago. Just want to go over everything I did. It is the JP1 California kit, which is California smog legal. Has a map sensor, O2 sensor, throttle position sensor, electric fuel pump. So I'll kind of show you everything I did with that. So I'll just kind of go over the basic stuff. I followed the diagram that were in the instructions, as well as this nice little sticker here. It's very easy, very self-explanatory. You just kind of follow the routing of the vacuum lines. You have to buy a couple T adapters. The very important thing on the Carb is this Carb EO number. It's this EOD452. That actually matches a number here on the plate, but it's right there. As far as the TBI goes, I ordered the 9-inch K&N, but unfortunately with the K&N, it was actually hitting my brake booster. So I went to O'Reilly's and got the 6.5-inch Mr. Gasket, I guess, air cleaner adapter. It came with this filter. I figured once that's done, I'll replace it with the K&N. This piece right here is actually a 1993 Chevy throttle body adapter. So it's made for the 4.3 kit. It sits right on top. The nice thing about that is on the very back here, it has, I guess, a plug that goes to the rear of the valve cover for your breather. I did have a nice breather valve here before, but my mechanic told me that when I take it to have the referee inspect it, he won't pass it because of that. So as you can see on the firewall here, I have the, I believe that's the fuel pump relay and a couple fuses here. Down here are all the vacuum lines. I have the new coolant temperature switch that I installed right there. Down here is the O2 sensor. I was lucky enough to have the manifold that has the hole for it already, so I just took the nut that was out of there and screwed it on in. As you can see, I have the vacuum advance coming off my DUI distributor. That goes into a T right here. That goes, one end of the T goes in the A port on the throttle body. The other end goes to my dual CTO valve with another T in it. Not sure if you can see that, but all this is on the diagram and very detailed on the instructions. As far as on the back of the unit, there are two fuel line adapters as well as my map sensor. So my map sensor is actually right here. It's a vacuum line coming off the back of the TBI to the map sensor here. I originally had this mounted to the firewall here with a 12-inch line, but I wasn't receiving or getting, that good of a vacuum. So I called Howell, spoke to Troy, and he told me I had the new map sensor and to shorten that line on the 2 inches. And that's what I did. As you can see, I then zip tied the switch here to keep it from hanging low, whatever the case is. So from here is a fuel line. It's routed behind the valve cover, actually over the valve cover here is a fuel line. But this line, which is coming from the fuel pump, goes to the left side of the TBI. And on the right side, which is the passenger side, you have that line running down to this right here, which is your fuel return line. On the other side here, as I mentioned, I had the DUI distributor with the live wires. I did go with the Champion spark plugs that are recommended on this sticker here. Even though I can get my plugs at 55, I left them at the recommended 35 for now until I go to the referee in California and pass emissions. This right here is the mechanical fuel pump block off plate that comes with the TBI. And as the TBI says, I have the orange wire running to this side of the starter solenoid, and the black wire from the harness running to this side. This white wire here is actually from the Howell wire harness as well. It was labeled TAC. I just have it plugged into the TAC side of my DUI ignition. As you can see here, that's the wire harness. I actually cut this here to make sure all the plugs fit. And then I went ahead and used some gaskets either to seal it all up so it doesn't leak water into the cab. So under the cab here, you will see the ECU right there. So that's the ECU for the Howell TBI. Here is my check engine light. It's a painless check engine light, which I actually purchased on Summit. I will have the part number to the check engine light, my Mr. Gasket air cleaner, and a few other things I went ahead and picked up. As you see right here, this purple wire, which is the ignition switch that comes off the fuse block harness for the TBI. I spliced it into this. So basically, when I turn the key, the check engine light will turn on. It will stay on. And then when I go to crank it, the check engine light will stay on while it's being cranked. I installed the electrical fuel pump that comes in the kit to my passenger side frame rail just above my transmission plate. This will protect it from any, I guess, rocks or whatever road debris while I'm driving. I did use 2 heavy duty zip ties to attach to the frame rail. Here I have the fuel filter going directly to the fuel pump. You might be asking yourself, why didn't you use a mounting bracket that came with the Howell throttle body pump? It's actually right here, and it just didn't seal it properly. So I went ahead and just made some revisions, used zip ties. I may revisit this, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. As you can see, that is the passenger side, which goes back to the fuel tank. Right above here is my throttle position sensor. I plugged the one from Howell directly into my Dana 300, and then plugged my speedometer cable right here into the back of it. And I actually ran the cable above the frame rail through here. It's tucked under the frame rail, under the body, so it doesn't get damaged while I'm off-roading. I did install a MagnaFlow high-flow catalytic converter CA Smoglio Cat with a nice MagnaFlow exhaust. So once again, as I stated, when you start it, this light should stay on constantly. So if you go to crank it and this light shuts off, you have not connected the wire harness to the appropriate connection. This is a cold start. As you can see, the check engine light turns off. It's started. It's going to rev a little higher. Until it gets warmed up. As you can see, the RPM's dropped. So here it is. Howell TBI JP1 California Small Wheel Kit. If you have any questions in regards to the install, please feel free to comment below and I'll answer them. And like I said, I will be putting together a part list of the additional parts I purchased for this install. But relatively, it was really easy. I'm very meticulous about the wires, so I made sure to clean everything up and make it look nice and tidy.